But the big story from the UK is the Ministry of Defence in the United Kingdom, Britain, has red flagged China's hiring of former Royal Air Force fighter pilots. UK, the British fighter pilots, who are training Chinese Air Force fighter pilots in combat aviation. China Air Force is trying to upskill and is spending big money to hire former British Air Force pilots. China has adopted a rather long and a rather circuitous route. First, employing the services of a headhunting agency in South Africa to hire Royal Air Force veterans and then sending them to China to train People's Liberation Army Air Force or PLAAF fighter pilots. Alarmed, the Ministry of Defence in UK has issued a statement saying, and I quote, around 30 former RAF pilots are being scrutinized for their links with China. Big money is learned to have been spent. The statement says headhunting services and former UK Armed Forces pilots to train People's Liberation Army personnel in China. They are wanting closer scrutiny. They want this to stop. All serving and former personnel are already subject to Official Secret Act. We are reviewing the use of confidentiality contracts and non-disclosure agreement across defence. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, is this being looked at for illegality, impropriety, or more important, is this unethical?
Gaurav, I'm not going to comment on the, the ethos of Royal Air Force veterans, because I'm not going to tar an entire service because of the actions of a few. But we live in a world where money talks, and China is apparently paying top dollar, or rather top sterling, for the services of these retired Royal Air Force pilots to go to China, accept annual packages of up to £250,000, which is, a huge sum of money for a retired pilot, to sit there in China and train Chinese pilots, not just in how to fly planes, but critical intelligence that they wouldn't otherwise get. For instance, how Western planes are built, what their secret qualities are. Remember, Royal Air Force pilots are familiar with the entire gamut of Western aircraft, whether they are French, whether they are American, through NATO. They know all about the F-35. They know all about the Eurofighter Typhoon. They are familiar with the F-22 Raptor. They are familiar with US Air Force equipment as well. So they come with a whole wealth of information that, that China doesn't otherwise have. Now, the UK MOD has put out a statement saying that these Royal Air Force pilots are not breaking any existing UK law, but obviously there is a great deal of moral grey area here, not to mention the fact that the entire Western world practically is in some sort of conflict or another with China, most notably around what's happening in Taiwan at this time. So this is extremely bad news, because it makes the UK look like it isn't in control over those who retire from its very illustrious military services, and to be seen to be helping the quote-unquote enemy on critical information, the ability to fly advanced aircraft and know much more about the quote-unquote enemy, in this case the UK, the US and other NATO nations, is something that is unthinkable in this day and age. So whether the UK can actually clamp down and stop it from happening remains to be seen. But like I said, money talks, and China knows how to use it.
Shiv, for joining me here with this input, many thanks.